Hi Tube World, here today I'm going to explain a martial arts film called Fearless. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Moviesh blogs. 10-year-old Huo Yuanjia is the son of a martial arts master named ND, and he never allows Huo to take part in training. Concerned about his asthma, the kid however has a passion for kung fu. He tries his best to sneak into his father's classes to learn the bases of it. Huo's only friend is a nerdy kid named Jinsen. He does all of Huo's calligraphy homework, allowing him to train instead, and he is the second best in martial arts in their town, which is soon about to change because he has been challenged by the best. Zhao Huo is excited about the fight and confident that the victory will fall in his father's lap, and he has the upper hand in the match and is about to land a fatal blow on Zhao, but his beliefs and fair gameplay stop him from doing so. Taking advantage of the niceness, Zhao retaliates and wins the match. Dishonorably, Huo is heartbroken by the incident. Zhao's son challenges him to a fight when only the kids are together. Huo confidently takes the challenge on, but is defeated in no time. At this moment, he vows to restore his family's name and become the best martial artist. In Tianjin, he and Jinsen go to his father's library and steal his book about martial arts. Then, using the book, he trains day and night without rest. When Hua finally thinks he is ready, he challenges Zhao's son to a fight again. Zhao accepts the challenge confidently, but is instantly proven weak against the trained Huo. Several years later, Huo has grown up to become even better in martial arts. His father passed away long ago, along with his wife, who left him with a little daughter. Huo spoils her since she is his joy and pride in life. Since his last fight with Zhao, Huo has remained undefeated. He has fought several opponents, but none of them were good enough to give him a hard time. Huo has also gathered a lot of fans and followers over the years, but along the way he has developed pride and is starting to forget his father's principles. He drinks and parties all the time and lets his disciples focus on having fun more than practicing. Some days he drinks so much that he forgets to return home to his daughter. He has spent all of his family's money and has gone into debt, but has no cares in the world. One evening, he goes to his best friend Jinsen, who is now a wealthy businessman and the owner of a famous restaurant. As usual, Huo drinks until midnight and treats his followers to unlimited food. Jinsen's assistant reminds him that Huo has not paid his bills for over a year and they've been piling up. Later that night, Jinsen tries putting some sense into Huo. Jinsen knows that Huo's disciples only like him because he treats them to free food and drinks. He wants Huo to be conscious of his spending habits, but Huo thinks Jinsen is just being stingy. The following day, he bumps into his biggest rival Ken. He is the only man who hasn't fought with Huo yet, since he has also defeated every opponent. Ken is considered the best in martial arts by many. They get into a slight altercation, which hurts Huo's pride. He takes his anger out on his disciples, beating them up while they train. At night, one of his followers has to be brought to him in a stretcher. It turns out that Ken beat him up for some reason. Huo assumes that he did it out of spite and is filled with anger. In Jinsen's restaurant, Ken and his family are celebrating his birthday. Suddenly, Huo barges in with his people and starts drinking at a nearby table. Ken asks him to put their rivalry aside for the night because he doesn't want to fight, but Huo is in no mood to back down. Jinsen also tries to stop him but is in turn insulted. In a fit of rage, he breaks up their lifelong friendship. Now even angrier, challenges Ken to a fight and asks him to kneel down if he doesn't want to accept. Everyone gets out of their restaurant for their safety, leaving the fighters alone. They get into an intense battle, both matching in skill and strength, but when anger takes over Huo, he doesn't play fair. He beats Ken up until he is exhausted and lands a life-threatening punch on his chest. It causes him to die instantly. Huo returns home in the morning to see his mother's dead body on her bed. Ken's followers had her killed to take revenge on him. He cries, mourning her death, before suddenly realizing his daughter is also in the house. Upon walking into her room, he is met with the biggest surprise of his life. She is lying on her bed covered in blood. In her hand is a little pouch that she had promised to give him when he returned home. Broken by the death scene has caused Huo steps out of the house when his disciples inform him that the man who was beaten up by Ken had insulted his wife. Ken did not beat him up out of spite, but for his wife's honor. Filled with guilt, regret and sorrow, Huo doesn't see a reason for him to keep living. He boards the first ship and lies down in a corner, willing to go wherever it takes him. After living in the streets For 6 months he tries to commit the unthinkable but is soon saved by a group of people by the river they bring him to their tribe and take great care of him. But even after gaining consciousness, Wo goes into depression and doesn't talk to anyone. A blind woman named Moon takes care of him and is worried that he will never get up from the bed. Her experienced grandmother is confident that he will be fine with time. One day, Moon feels Fo's hair and offers to cut it. He walks for the first time in a month and goes to a river with her where she helps him cut his hair. Starting that day he becomes a member of their community. He helps them cook, farm and do household work. As a year passes, Moon and Huo start falling for each other. Then one day a kid from their tribe is found stealing a cow from their neighboring community. The grandmother and Moon beg for forgiveness from the rival leader, but according to their tradition, someone who makes a mistake should be beaten until an incense burns out. Wo speaks up for the tribe and offers to take the beating in the kid's place for adults. The punishment is a bit different, which means Wo will have to fight against the leader. Although Huo can finish him in no time, he doesn't want to use his knowledge to hurt anyone anymore. Initially he doesn't even defend himself, but after a little motivation from the grandmother he starts to dodge the attacks. The incense burns off, but the leader is not able to land a single blow on him. He accepts his defeat and praises Wo. The next day Huo, Moon and the children of the tribe are in the field. The children want to learn Kung Fu from Hua, but he refuses to teach them. He knows what great power does to people and wants the peaceful village to remain as it is. The children also innocently mention that Huo and Moon are the closest to each other, but the adults ignore the comment. One day Moon goes to see her parents' grave. This reminds Fo of his parents and daughter who he abandoned after her death. Now that he is in a better mental condition, he wants to return home to visit their graves. He tells Moon about the plan and she happily encourages him. Huo promises to return as soon as he can and asks her to wait for him. In the following scene we see him enter his hometown Tianjin, which is now an entirely different place. After the fall of the Qing dynasty, several strong nations attacked China and took over. Tianjin became partially colonized, which caused several foreign residents to reside in the city and influence their culture. Huo goes to his childhood house, which is now an old shabby place. The family servant Lifu welcomes him in. He has tried his best to keep things as they were, but after Huo's departure a bunch of creditors flipped the entire house to look for money. Huo goes to his family's grave and apologizes to his father. He finally understands why he didn't land the punch years ago when he could have won the title of the best player. After that he goes to apologize to Ki's family and bows down in front of his shrine. As he wanders around the city he sees that a wrestler named Hercules O'Brien is challenging Chinese people in a fight. He has remained undefeated in every fight and is confident in the next victory to conserve Chinese heritage. Huo wants to challenge him, but he will need some money for it. For his next step he goes to Jensen's place and apologizes for what happened years ago. He promises to have learned from his actions. When Jensen finds out what he needs the money for, he doesn't waste time before handing it to him through an assistant. Then in the 1909 race club Shanghai, Hercules goes against Wo. At first glance someone petite like Wo could never beat Hercules, who is double the size of him. Before the match begins, Wo requests that he and Hercules fight with honor and civility, taking advantage of the language barrier. The announcer mistranslates Wo's request to "he wants to kick your butt," making Hercules laugh. The fight begins, and Huo instantly gains the upper hand as the match gets intense. Huo saves the opponent from being impaled to nails on the side of the ring. As a good sportsman, Hercules accepts his defeat, making Huo the victor. Huo gains fame from the single fight and is called to Shanghai. He meets Jinsen there, who proposes they form Kinwu Athletic Association, a place where they teach Chinese students the art of Kung Fu. That way, even with the constant foreign pressure, they can preserve their heritage. Meanwhile, a group of officials from the foreign chamber is not fond of Huo's growing popularity among the Chinese public. They fear that his wins against the foreign fighters may trigger anti-foreign sentiments among the Chinese people, hence to make sure he loses in the ring next time they propose a match between Huo and 4 foreign champions consecutively in a single day. The Japanese representative M. Armida promises to end Huo once and for all. This time, even though the challenge is difficult and is obviously a tactic to make him lose, Huo agrees to take part. One day before the big fight, he meets his rival, the Japanese champion Tanaka. They talk over tea and befriend each Other Tanaka is a fair and respectable sportsman like Whoa, but unlike the people who are sponsoring him. Cut to the day of the fight. Huo is made to go against 3 fighters from around the world, but none of them last in the ring. For more than 2 minutes, Foe manages to defeat all 3 without breaking a sweat. Lastly, he goes against Tanaka, who apologizes for the unfair match and asks him if they should reschedule. Whoa says it's fine and the first round starts. They fight using weapons of their choice. Huo uses a sanjigu and Tanaka uses a katana. Amidst the intense battle, they accidentally exchange weapons. Tanaka is not very good at handling sanjigu, so to make it a fair fight, Huo offers to exchange the weapons again. The first round ends in a draw because of the hold up while resting before the next round. Kuo drinks tea that is poisoned by Mr. Mita, who wants to see him lose one way or another. The round starts, but Whoa collapses and starts coughing blood. Almost immediately, Tanaka demands that the match be halted for the safety of the fighter, but when Huo registers he has been poisoned, he wishes to continue, as he is going to die anyway even when exhausted and seconds away from death. Huo manages to deliver a final blow to Tanaka's chest using the same technique that killed Kin. However, he holds the punch back, this time learning from his mistakes, but just then he collapses. Tanaka declares Foe the winner, knowing that he held back on the punch deliberately. In the end, Huo falls into his friend's arms and dies. Tanaka angrily belittles Mr. Mita for resorting to killing a man for the sake of his pride. He calls him a disgrace to Japan before storming off. In the last scene, Huo's spirit reaches the field outside Moon's house. She runs to him, sensing his presence even though she is blind. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.